All right. And then, so now, first things first, I know it says Mario at the bottom of the thing on Twitch, but this will probably be a separate video on YouTube. I want to first discuss, obviously, with the picture right here, the passing of Akira Toriyama, and also discuss a little bit more about uh, Anime August and potentially some of what could happen or what not what changes are may happen to the uh channel. First, I'm going to. I know like this particular thing is cutting into this stream is cutting into the uh um it's cutting into the To the Moon stream series. I will continue that after, but first a note on Toriyama's passing. I'm sure there's plenty of people who have said much more wonderful and heartfelt things, and I don't know what else I could say except that without him, anime would never have been as popular around the world. Um, it's a big loss. Dragon Ball was like literally the series Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were literally the series that got me into anime, and that's where I started with anime. Except for maybe like Pokemon and Digimon, but I mean, I think Dragon Ball Z was where it really like I really started being like, oh yeah, I really like this. Um, and that's kind of where, and I think that's kind of a lot of people's uh reaction to Dragon Ball. And suffice to say, like uh, that, like thank you Toriyama, and uh, rest in peace. But I think, like I said, there's probably a lot more people that have much more heartfelt thank yous to Toriyama. But and then with Anime August this year is definitely going to be a Dragon Ball game. I don't know which one yet, but it's definitely going to be uh, a Dragon Ball game. Um, I don't think there's any reason to not have a Dragon Ball game this year. Um, but yeah, I mean, and that kind of gets me on the topic of Anime August. A similar thing with and yeah, that will be pretty much dedicated to Toriyama. Um, but a similar thing with like sort of retroactively happening with the Yu-Gi-Oh series, where whenever I did that series, it happened to be just after uh the Yu-Gi-Oh creator passed away, but I didn't realize that at the time. So I was just playing it without even knowing that. So that series is definitely also dedicated to the memory of uh, the Yu-Gi-Oh creator. Sorry, I need to look it up. I think it's Tashimoto. Uh, no, Takahashi. I don't know why I said that. Takahashi. I don't know why I said sucks that I can't remember his name. I need to remember his name. But yeah, like that was such a tragic thing that happened, and I didn't even realize that it happened until after the series had fully come out. But yeah, um, that whole series of the Sacred Cards uh, is all that's all um, that's all dedicated to him. And then so this year's Anime August is going to be dedicated to Toriyama, and we'll be playing a Dragon Ball game. Haven't figured out which one yet, but that will be coming later. Um, but I also don't know how much time. I'll have to also figure out how much time I'll be able to dedicate to streaming by that time, because my life may be a little bit more hectic uh, around that time. But hopefully um, it can work out and we'll be able to do a lot more streams. And that's a whole nother issue of streaming in general becoming harder and harder for me to do. But that's for that's a discussion for another time. And with everything, uh just I mean, that's just kind of I don't really have much else to say except for thanks Toriyama for inspiring me as a child, and even continuing to inspire people into his as an adult with his with his um with Super and everything. The fact that he was still working uh to bring joy to more people is such a testament to who he is. Just such a testament. And uh I just want to say thanks for uh giving us that joy as children, um and giving me that joy as a child of watching Dragon Ball. but but this video, this we're going to do an actual discussion, because today is Mario Day. So today is Mario Day, and I wanted to do an actual um discussion about the Super Mario Brothers movie, which the about like a sequel discussion, the sequel discussions, like I typically do with a bunch of different things. And since the Mario movie's like almost a year old at this point, I'll probably do some more, have some spoilers on here. So it's probably not going to, uh, so I'm not going to like be as hard pressed to be, um, hiding spoilers of the first movie. But where's my stream? But let me first I'm gonna get a different hat because this discussion warrants a different hat. Um, so let me go do that right now. See. I'm just looking to see if everything. Yep. All right. So let me see. Sorry for being a little bit loud here. I'm trying to set everything up. All right. So, whoa. Whoop. So Mario Brothers movie. Let's have a discussion about it. First thing I want to say is that, um, well, I don't know. I don't know what, so this is with most of my, like with a lot of my discussions, I'm gonna have, this is gonna be about what I would want, for the next, in this case, movie of Mario, or what I would like to see in the next Mario movie. Um, I'm actually going to do a little bit more of a detailed plot of a potential, like a little bit more detailed of like where things could go, similar to like the One Piece um season 2 future discussion. Um, so that being said, this is what why is that coming through? I should be muted. Okay. But with that being said, let's go to let's talk about this for a second. I mean, if you haven't watched the first movie, um, it's it's a good movie. It's I'd highly recommend it. Um, it's it's a kids movie, so keeping that in mind as well. But yeah, it's good. I think it's um I mean, considering the last uh movie we had was the John Hopkins, John Leguizamo movie. Uh yeah. This is much better. Actually, yeah, because that was the only Mario movie we had before this. But and I do still like that movie. I'm not like hating on that, but it is not like a Mario movie. I do still like that for what it was. Um, but what it was a cheesy 90s movie. But anyway, let's on the topic of the new Mario movies. These are this series was actually really like this movie actually was really good, and um yeah, there's some like issues with like I will say I have some issues with some things, like it's kind of a little bit of an adjustment to hear Donkey Kong, but I think once you adjust to that, he kind of comes around. um but Yeah, I think a lot of it though is it's very well done. It's there's a lot of love in it, and the only thing I would say, and this is going to lead to the first point, that I think what I would like to see in the next movie, um, because it's the Super Mario Brothers movie, I would like to see more of Luigi. Um, the thing that really kind of upset me with the first movie was that Luigi didn't get a lot of screen time, or the screen time he did get, he didn't do a whole lot for the story in general. So I think a movie that where the main focus and the main uh uh yeah, point of emphasis is on Luigi would be a very interesting way to do the second to do um just to use the second movie as the focal, Luigi being the focal point and being the main guy. Now that being said, Mario's going to have a role in this series. He's just going to be a little bit more of a B plot. Uh, but I would like to see this with Luigi as the main focus of that. And one way you could do that, and very easy, this could very easily be done, in, as uh, with just the way that they kind of have kind of can do the next movie, and that is by introducing Daisy. Um, Having Daisy as a now this can be done in a bunch of different ways. I don't know how they would introduce, but uh Luigi, like it could even be just as simple as Peach, Luigi, Mario, and or Mario, Peach, and Luigi and Daisy, or Mario and Peach, and Luigi, um, start like maybe they just sort of go to Sarasaland, um, at the beginning. I know Sarasaland is going to be should be a big point if they're going to be doing um anything to do with Daisy and anything to do with Luigi as the main hero. I think Sarasaland would be the best option for this story. Obviously, they'd start the adventure with Mario, Peach, Mario, and Luigi, and maybe they go to Sarasaland and they meet Daisy, and I don't know if that's going to be the start of the movie or if that would be the ultimate, or if it would be like something where they go to the Sarasaland because it's in danger, and then that ends up being the biggest things. But suffice to say, Sarasaland is going to be in danger, um, and what would need to be, and essentially Luigi would be the one that helps, but they call on Luigi, Mario, and Daisy to, or Peach. I mean, Luigi, Mario, and Peach. Daisy calls on Peach and the others to help save Sarasaland, which is under threat and under siege. And this can kind of bring the next threat into like one of the bigger threats in the series, which could be Wario. Now I don't think he would be the main villain, but I think it would be interesting to have him be a major threat. And I think the way he could do this could be a really interesting tie with how a tie into how the story kind of like unfolded at the end of Mario, the first Mario Brothers movie, where uh Mario's world and um Mario's world and uh Mario's world and the Mushroom Kingdom and every all these other lands start sort of coming together, and there's more of a like there's sort of like a bleed over effect where the Mushroom Kingdom and like the real Mario and Mario's world start to kind of like intertwine in the world, and maybe by utilizing that, Wario is some sort of like a businessman that sort of capitalizes on that idea of Sarasa of these other worlds and trying to now whether or not be conquering those worlds or just somehow uses that to make money for himself. Um, and then that's where he becomes a threat to Sarasaland. But I think I also don't want him to be just straight up a villain. So I think he could have a very interesting character arc or a character moment with where you can kind of see where he's trying to like move it, trying to blend in with some of these uh sort of richer people, like some of the higher society folk, and he just doesn't do that, and he can't find like people that he can connect with, like maybe. And I think this would be a good scene is he tries to play tennis with people, getting in Mario Tennis idea. He tries to play tennis with people, and this could be a scene where he meets his best friend and probably business partner in this sense, Waluigi. They probably would end up being um, friends that kind of uh, sort of like that they end up becoming friends because of the uh, tennis situation because he uh um like I said where like you could have a scene where he, Wario is trying to play tennis with a bunch of like rich people or higher society people, and they just don't want to play with him. But Luigi could be someone who actually comes up and befriends Wario in that moment, and they could be, and that could be um, how that friendship sort of unfolds and how they end up uh, doing creating that Waluigi Wario dynamic. And I think that would be a nice nod to Waluigi's original, uh, I think, appearance, which was in Mario Tennis, just because which Wario was uh, um, I think Wario just kind of like asked Waluigi to play, and he was just some random guy. And he's just asked some random guy, and he happens to be Waluigi. But either way, that could be where the threat comes from. With these two being the sort of like the threat of sort of like a creeping, like they're trying to sort of conquer Sarasaland in a way through like technology, and I think technology could be the way that this happens, and how Wario ends up, especially getting that WarioWare idea, where he's building up this sort of technology business that's kind of um, intertwined with the idea of using the Mushroom Kingdom and the overflow of that uh the overflow of uh that came from the first movie, where there's sort of now that mix of um where there's that mix of um the Mushroom Kingdom and Mario's world, and how these different worlds kind of interact with each other. And then another aspect to have would be, and I think that technology aspect can really uh, uh, blend together in the Donkey Kong Mario story, which would be the B plot. This could be a situation where Donkey Kong is being controlled, or something is going on. Some kind of technology is messing with Donkey Kong's brain, and this could be how uh this could set up the whole Donkey Kong uh attacking Pauline, which is the mayor in the city that Mario lives in, which I think is just New York. I don't remember what it was. I thought it was just Brooklyn, but I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know. But either way, you can have you can set up the whole original Donkey Kong uh as a like scenario where Donkey Kong kidnaps the mayor and Mario saves the mayor uh, with Paul saving Pauline. Now maybe Pauline can be replaced with Peach. I don't know. I'd prefer it to be Pauline because they already showed her in the first movie. I think they gave a nod to her as a reference. So I would like to see that because it'd also show Mario as sort of a local hero. Um, give him a chance to be see give him a chance another chance to have him be seen as a local hero and saying like, oh, he saved the mayor from Donkey Kong. But then it'd be interesting to see how that is. But what would happen is essentially the technology or whatever something controls Donkey Kong in order to do that. Like some sort of outside force controls Donkey Kong to do that, and Mario has to um, rescue the mayor from Donkey Kong. Um, and yeah, obviously, like I said, it could be a very beautiful scene with like the original Donkey Kong, and this could be a really fun moment in the B plot. But yeah, like I said, this would be the B plot. Uh, the Wario, Luigi, and that whole situation could be the A plot. And the technology aspect would be what ties into um, the Donkey Kong Mario story because they find out this technology and then they don't know what this technology is. So maybe that's where they end up going to confront Bowser and confront because they don't know who's being controlling Donkey Kong. Um, so they just assume that Bowser's it's another of Bowser's tricks. So Mario and Donkey Kong go off and fight Bowser, try to fight Bowser or whatever. Um, and oh, okay, hold on that. I'll go back to that. But they tried to find Bowser, um, and that's where, and this could be the whole Bowser situation. Bowser's still trying to um win over Peach, and the way he can tries to win over Peach this time would be showing he could be a responsible person with Bowser Jr. Um, brings up a whole load of questions. Where did Bowser Jr. come from? What everything about that? Obviously, those questions still remain. I think they could just keep those questions unanswered. Or if they want to answer it, they could just say like Koopa like create magically created him or something. But if they want to keep it a mystery, I think that would be hilarious. That could actually end up being leading to other jokes where it's like uh where like Peach is like concerned for the safety of Bowser Jr. because she doesn't know if Bowser just straight up kidnapped him or something. But yeah, like that could be a fun interaction. But that would be what Peach and Bowser are doing in this scenario. And then obviously with Donkey Kong and Mario coming in and assuming that Mario uh assuming that Mario like or assuming that Mario and Donkey Kong come in assuming that Bowser was the one behind the controlling Donkey Kong. And then obviously Bowser's like, what are you talking about? I've just been doing this stuff. But Bowser Jr. could be the one to reverse engineer that piece of technology and trace it back to its source, and that could lead them on adventure. All the four of them, or five of them. I guess it'd be more than four. It would be Bowser, Bowser Jr., Bowser Jr., Donkey Kong. If Donkey Kong even stays, he could just go back and say like, I'm done, I'm out, and I'm gonna do my own thing. Because honestly, if they're gonna do a movie with a Donkey Kong solo movie, then yeah, honestly, he doesn't really. The only purpose he serves is that moment of bringing the being controlled and having the things. I think he's done enough if that's the case. If depending on whether or not uh Seth Rogen would even wanna do a full wanna do more than just those scenes. Um I think he could end up going back, or yeah, or just something where it's like just to take him out of it. Donkey Kong could something could have come up in the Donkey Kong Kingdom, and he has to go back home, and then just say, okay, that kind of sets the stage for the Donkey Kong solo movie. But maybe yeah, maybe that sets up the stage. Maybe he gets word from someone else that's like that the donkey like that, yeah, just word that they're in trouble. um so then if Donkey Kong leaves at that moment, then that would leave Bowser Jr., Mario, Peach, yeah, but yeah, the four of them going on a journey. And maybe this is where, and now I'll go back to that image, this is where they meet Yoshi. um Now I don't know whether Yoshi would talk, whether he would just say the Yoshi line, if he would just say Yoshi over and over and over and not actually say words. But either way, I think just that being how they went after Bowser Jr. reverse engineers the um the thing or reverse engineers the technology to take it to, and then they start following it back to uh then they start following it back. They end up in Yoshi's maybe they end up some they go on they obviously go on an adventure in the B plot, and that's where they meet a lot of the Yoshis and meet more Yoshis, and there's actually the of the Yoshi that we come to know and love, and that's where that when they meet him. Obviously, while this is going on, the whole situation uh with Luigi is going on, and I think the Luigi story uh can be feature heavily King Boo, and this could be sort of Luigi's Mansion style. This could be a very interesting way that they can do that. Um, I think that they could introduce him first in like in his journey. He goes through the mansion again. Um, as he's trying, maybe he gets take thrown to the mansion or something. I don't know, but somehow he gets stuck back in the mansion, and then he has to actually fight and use. And this is where the poltergeist and everything like that, the Luigi's Mansion situation, can actually be part of the story. And he can and maybe there's also uh like a friendly Boo, like that wants to help uh Luigi, and just other things like that could happen in the Luigi's Mansion situation. It doesn't have to be like full on Luigi's Mansion where they have the storyline and everything, but just the idea of him dealing with ghosts and having and maybe introducing the poltergeist as well. Uh, I is Poltergeist 3000 or something? I don't remember Poltergust 3000? Poltergust. Yeah, that's what it is. I haven't really played Luigi's Mansion. I need to. That's definitely something on that I'd like to do. Um, but yeah, that could be a interesting story this for this and that could be how um that could be part of Luigi's story um as he's going through the um events that and as he's trying to figure things out, as he's trying to save Sarasaland. Um he has to fight King Boo. Now whether that be halfway through his journey or I might suggest something later, which but King Boo would be an interesting sort of mid boss, or maybe not even a mid boss. Maybe there's something else that happens. But even a final scene for this, um, perhaps maybe King Boo has been, and I'll just say it here. Maybe King Boo possesses Wario and or Waluigi, depending one or the other. But maybe they get possessed and by King Boo, and King Boo has been the one pulling the strings the whole time. That's where I think a third act twist could happen. Um, and I think that would be very interesting if it's done well. But it could be very bad if it's done wrong. But you just have to have a good like maybe King like I don't know if you would necessarily when you introduce King Boo with Luigi, if they do it in a way that's like King Boo's a threat to Luigi in the beginning, but you don't he's but he defeats King Boo, but then he comes back later and he's actually the big threat, and he's actually like a crazy like and he's actually been pulling the strings behind Waluigi and Wario the whole time, and that could be the big reveal. um but if they do it where it's like King Boo's trying to be a nice guy to Luigi at the beginning and then he turns evil, I wouldn't want to see that. I think that that would be too much like every other um reveal like bad guy reveal villain. Then I think that could be that would be too much of like almost like Frozen style bad reveal. Um, that I feel like if you try to play him off as a good guy in the Luigi's Mansion scene, then it's just gonna it wouldn't work as well. I think in the Luigi's Mansion scene, you play him off as a uh sort of lower level threat, but then in the final scene, he's obviously the major threat, and he's been the one doing pulling everything, like pulling all the everything behind the scenes, everything, but he's been doing everything, and he's been the one uh that's been the biggest threat. Now now's the time we will get to casting choices and who I think could be good choices the um for this cast. And I'll probably have another scene with King Boo as well, or another image of King Boo um within those, just because I didn't know where I was going to say that the stuff about like him being the mastermind of the whole plot of behind Wario and his them trying pushing him towards taking over Sarasa land. Um, but uh, as far as who I think should be voice cast for this next group of people that I've next group of characters that I've already introduced, that I've already talked about. First, I think we should say Zendaya as Daisy. I think this is kind of a pretty obvious one. Um, I don't know how much else I need to say about it. It's just like she's someone who's extremely popular in like literally everything. I think she has a lot of the energy to play Daisy. I worry that she doesn't have as upbeat. She has the Tom girl, or not Tom girl, but like that's not the right word, but she has like the um like I just wonder if she has the enthusiasm that Daisy has. And I think that that's where I would like to see what she could do with that role. I think she could do like the uh she could very much be a she has that tough girl personality and stuff like that that is really good for Daisy. But as far as and then they could also have Daisy be a little bit more tan, I guess, considering she lives in the desert, and kind of like focus on her like kind of a little bit harkening back to her original parents, where she was kind of a little bit darker skinned, not like super dark skinned, but where she was kind of like a little bit more tan than she is in the modern games. Um, I don't know. That's just a suggestion. It doesn't necessarily need to happen for the uh that doesn't need to happen as far as the skin tone of Daisy, but it'd be interesting if especially with the voice being voiced by Zendaya. But I think this would be a good, like, especially if they're going to go all star cast all afterwards. If they're going to continue to do the all star cast thing, this she would be perfect for Daisy. Um, the problem is, and I don't know how I didn't really like include much about Daisy in the plot because a lot of it's Luigi focused. And maybe when Luigi gets separated, maybe that's when Daisy's confronts Wario, and that whole scenario kicks off. Um, but yeah, I think there was also an interesting point, and I'll get into it later. But there's an interesting point about how the first round of cast wasn't like I think wasn't as diverse. I think they had Toad as um uh they had oh they had Keegan Michael Key as Toad, but wasn't a lot of diversity in the original cast. But I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But if it's well, it can be a problem if it's perceived as a negative thing. But I feel like the having these characters be more of a main character, and there's another character uh with Wario. Wario I think could be voiced by Pedro Pascal. Um I think he's played a lot of like interesting characters over the years, and especially with the technology angle and the whole um like the technology angle of and the is very similar to the sort of idea uh the character he played in Wonder Woman 84, even though that's not a, a good example of characters. But he's going to be playing Mr. Fantastic, so that's another character that's very tech savvy. Max Lord and is who he was in '84. But if he plays it like he played Max Lord, he would be a really good Wario. And also, I just love the fact that Pedro Pascal played like what was it, the Wario? Did he do the whole Wario? Or he did the like the SNL bit with um where he was like the tough and gritty Mario. Like he was like when they try to make or like they made like the whole yeah, because they made a parody about I believe it was kind of like partially a parody of Last of Us 2 because or not Last of Us 2 but Last of Us with because the mushrooms and everything. So yeah, I think he played Mario in that the video game, the dark and gritty trailer to Mario Kart or um, whatever that skit was in SNL. Um, but yeah, like I think after that, I'm like I kind of would love to see him as Wario, seeing him in that skit. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like seeing that in combination of how he stood out in my mind in Wonder Woman '84 as like the only good part of that movie. um but yeah, I mean like just that whole idea, I think, and the fact that he's going to be Mr. Fantastic, like the idea of him playing like a technology based character would be interesting. um Especially at one that's a little bit more greedy than he would be in like a technology for good. This is sort of a technology for evil type character. So I think that'd be an interesting. I think Pedro Pascal would be an interesting Wario. And this is the reason for the Waluigi. A reason I was saying that there was criticism about the diversity. John Leguizamo was the person that brought that up. So I think a good way to kind of uh I never realized how uneven his eyes are until I saw this picture. But um uh like I think that would be a good I think he would play a good Waluigi. If not, I think Antonio Banderas would also be really good. But I think if John Leguizamo would want to, because he was a little bit harshly critical of the first movie uh, casting, um, if they'd want to extend an olive branch, because I don't have any harsh feelings towards him. Um, I, and I don't know him as a person, so um, I think I would hope that Illumination as a studio would be like not want to be as uh harsh, and they could extend the olive branch and be like, "Hey, do you want to play Waluigi?" And I think Waluigi would be a great fit for him. Um Especially in that scene where it's like the whole tennis scene would be a really fun interaction between Wario and Waluigi. I think it would also be I think his voice just works a lot better with Waluigi. If you've heard him in animation as well, he uh as Sid uh um from Ice Age, like that kind of voice just screams Waluigi to me. Um and I think this would be an interesting decision for like I think this would be really more up to John Leguizamo uh if they do offer him this role. is would he want to take that, or would he want to take another character similar to um Charles Martinet's character in uh maybe he would take on a similar role as Charles Martinet's character. And I think that would also be something with which case they could cast somebody else as Waluigi. Um, but yeah, I think that would be really uh interesting if he wants if he would rather just do a cameo because of the whole him being literally being Luigi in the live action movie. I think that would be a nice. Either he could be a cameo or he could just be a full fledged character in Waluigi, and that would really be up to him. Um, just as a way of extending the olive branch, since he was very critical in that first movie of the casting decisions. Uh, I think this would be something to potentially help that. And obviously, with Pedro Pascal being Wario, there wouldn't be much of an argument. Um, uh, that's for this particular all star cast. There wouldn't really be much of an argument he could make. Yeah, with the first two that I've already mentioned, but uh, that leads me to I don't know who's up next, but let's just see. Yoshi. I think Kehu Kwan. Um, for Yoshi would be interesting. I think he would fit very well with Yoshi. I also have another potential Yoshi. Um, just because I think, just because, which the next one might be a little bit more controversial pick, but I think Kehu Kwan is probably like, he's probably the best choice for Yoshi. Um, I think he would be he'd be an amazing Yoshi. And I think uh, this would probably be uh, the better choice. That's why I'm putting him first. But yeah, this all also depends on if Yoshi is going to speak, like, or if he's just going to say Yoshi the entire time. Um, so because that's you don't really need a big name actor if he's just going to say Yoshi all the time. But if he actually has like a speaking point, like maybe it's like just in his head, like he's speaking and he's trying to warn them and everything and that, and all they hear is Yoshi, 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 Yoshi. So maybe that's how they do that. But yeah, that could be a way that they interact, and maybe Toad can understand Yoshi. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I haven't really put Toad in this movie, so maybe Toad could just be with Peach, and uh, maybe Toad could just be the one. Maybe Toad's the one that tells Mario about uh Bowser kidnap, or maybe not kidnapping Peach, but essentially about when Bowser's trying to, like, I guess Bowser would kidnap Peach, have to in order to uh, for in order for the whole situation with um in order for the situation where he kind of introduces Bowser Jr. to kind of happen, he would kind of have to kidnap Peach, and maybe that's what where Toad can come in, is he can be the person that tells Mario Peach has been kidnapped. And yeah, and maybe he's along the ride with them on that journey after when they try to um when they meet Yoshi. Um but another actor that I think could be an interesting Yoshi, Michael Cera. This is why I said interesting. He's just he just looks like Yoshi, I think is the only reason I put this in here. He just looks like Yoshi, so maybe that's why. But I think he could be he could he I think he could still do it, especially if you're just going to be saying Yoshi, Yoshi, Yoshi the entire time. I think Michael Cera would be down to do that. And maybe this is just because I Michael Cera was in that weird commercial for CeraVe in the Super Bowl, but and he's just on the brain recently. Um, but yeah, I mean, he could be interesting for Yoshi, but yeah, I think Kehu Kwan is probably the better option for Yoshi. But I just kind of wanted to also throw this one in because it just made me laugh. Uh, but after I think for Bowser Jr., I think Gatton Matazzaro, Matazzaro, Matar Matarazzo. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Forgive me on a lot of these. Uh, but yeah, Gatton Matazzaro, Matarazzo. I say the Z first because I see there are two Z's. Okay, Gatton Matarazzo. Uh, as Bowser Jr. I think he would be a very good Bowser Jr. He's in Stranger Things. He is Dustin in Stranger Things, if you don't know. But I think he would be a very good Bowser Jr. I think just uh if you just listen to him in Stranger Things, it's like he could be a really good Bowser Jr. And honestly, this is like the only choice I see as acceptable for Bowser Jr. Uh, unless they hire an actual kid. Um, yeah, unless they hire an actual child, I think this would be the only option. Um, but aside from that, uh, I think the next one is yes, this would be King Boo's final form, and this is one of the reasons why I said that maybe Boo will have like a little uh there might be a smaller Boo that is like a nice Boo. Uh, the reason I said that is because when I first said Boo, just because obviously the Tenacious D connection with Jack Black being Bowser, I kind of thought Kyle Gass would be fun as Boo. Um, but then I started thinking, well, if he's King Boo, that doesn't really fit because King Boo can be a lot more intimidating, a lot more threatening, and a lot more really terrifying. And Kyle Gass's voice doesn't really work with that. Um, and that's why I think he would be better as like a smaller Boo, where he's just like a more friendly Boo that pals around with Luigi during that time. Um, but for King Boo, I think there could be a I think for King Boo, I think there is also a I did decide on like a big name for King Boo, and that would be John C. Riley. Um, I think honestly, with him, like he can sound like have a more of a booming voice that I think would be really good for King Boo. Uh, with you've heard it in like Wreck-It Ralph, like his whole how he can get like in that like angrily type of voice. He can kind of get that sort of vibe for King Boo, and I think it would really work. Uh, I think he would be a really good choice for King Boo. And I think that he'd be another big name that would be really fun to see interact with the rest of the cast. And I think that he he would bring a lot more entertainment to uh entertainment value for King Boo. He would be really good. Um, just having seen him in Wreck It Ralph, seeing him play, I think seeing him and Wreck-It Ralph playing the good guy with the anger issues or whatever, good guy with anger issues, this could be a really chance to see him as an intimidating and threatening villain. And I think he would be a really interesting, uh, an interesting villain, uh, character. And honestly, that wraps it up for uh Mario. So let me get back to the first page. So that kind of wraps it up for the Mario discussion. If you've got any discussions on who you would like to see, or what, whether it be plot, uh uh things you would want to see in the plot, or things you would want to see in the um or things you would want to see in the um whether it be things you want to see in the plot that I've gone over, or something else that I missed that you would prefer to, or that you would want to, or that you think would be uh interesting for the potential sequel Mario movie. Um other story elements, or other characters you would like to see in the Mario movie, um, or other casting choices that you think would be better, or if you have any other ideas, just uh, this when this goes up on YouTube, just let me know in the comments. Just I'd love to hear your thoughts on uh, whether it be this idea of the plot, or um, yeah, or even just suggestions of how Luigi could be focused on, like what we could focus on more with Luigi, because I feel like even though the whole Luigi's Mansion situation uh is and the Sarasaland stuff, like I feel like I didn't really discuss that, but I would like to see what uh what they come up with that. But that would just be more, I just kind of more discuss the setting of it, rather than like anything uh like I discuss more as like a setting situation than like actually whether or not the um as far as what character and some certain character moments or whatever. But I think when it comes to this, I think that's kind of really what it all boils down to is what kind of character moments are they going to have. And I think with Luigi, if shifting the focus onto Luigi, even though um like I said, Mario, Donkey Kong, Bowser, all these other characters would play very big, they'd be very important in the plot, but they would just, their plot would be, yeah, I feel like I had more ideas for what their plot would be than I had for Luigi and what his plot could be, because I think it would be, because to me is like, I just don't know what else they could do aside from just the whole Boo situation, and the King Boo situation, and the Luigi's Mansion stuff. And again, I haven't played the Luigi's Mansion games, so I don't really know how much that could be. I do know the Wario situation with Wario World or Wario Land or whatever. You can kind of like draw inspiration from that for how Wario tries to take over Sarasa Land, um, with that. But as far as that goes, it's like that's kind of if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or just any criticisms, as long as they're civil. Please leave them. Once I put this on YouTube, please leave them in the comments. Let me know. Let me know what you think. And again, like I said, if there's any casting choices you think you would prefer, I'd love to hear them. I'd love to see some more interaction, and I'd love to start doing that. And like I said, with a lot of a lot of this stuff, it's getting tougher and tougher to set aside time to do stuff like this, to do uh things like this. And well, I haven't said it. Today is actually Mario Day when I'm recording this, so I never actually said it. So everyone, happy Mario Day. I think I'm about to wrap this up. So thanks for watching. Thanks for whether you're watching on YouTube or on Twitch. Thanks for showing up, and as always, thanks for staying mad.